Hoovestol, Driver Reference Manual and Safety Guide. Welcome to the Hoovestol team. Driver Packets. You will receive a packet in the mail with the following content. Please refer to instructions within that packet. A driver handbook will be included in the packet. Please review to ensure you are familiar with all policies. Benefit information will be mailed to you separately. Employee number. You'll be assigned an employee number. This number should be used on all correspondence with Hoovestol. Paperwork to be completed.
Certificate of Compliance. As a commercial truck driver, you are required to maintain only one license or CDL from the state in which you reside. Anytime you receive a citation for violating a state or local traffic law, you must report it to your employer within 30 days. DOT regulations require you to sign this form agreeing to the terms. Certificate of Violations. Annual Review of MVR. Each year, you are required by the DOT regulations to prepare and furnish a list of all violations of motor vehicle traffic laws and ordinances of which you have been convicted of within the past 12 months, regardless of what type of vehicle you were driving. Complete the form listing any moving violations from the past year. If you've had no moving violations, check the box that says none. As required, we will run an MVR each year to compare to each completed form.
Working outside of Hoovestol policy. According to DOT Regulation 395.2, any compensated work is considered on-duty time. All compensated work outside of Hoovestol must be reported to your supervisor. Compensated time does not have to be for a trucking company. It could be working construction, retail, ranch hand, or any other work for which you are being compensated for. This work time outside of Hoovestol counts as on-duty time towards your 70 and 8 days time available, and also your 14-hour day if it's on the same day you report to duty and or if you do not have a complete 10 hours off-duty break prior to reporting to work. Each driver must complete the bottom portion of the provided form. If your situation changes, such as adding a new job or leaving a job you reported, you should complete a new form. Statement of on-duty hours for the last 7 days for newly hired drivers. This document will act as your prior 7-day statement of on-duty hours and must be carried for your first 7 days of work. Fill this out for the last 7 days, the day before you drive for the first time with Hoovestol. Turn this in with your supporting documents at the end of your first 7 days.
Driver Guides. 4 important guides. Driver's Guide to FMCSRs. This is a guide that explains federal motor carrier safety regulations. Sign and return the driver's receipt acknowledging that you've received this guide. CSA Know the Basics. This is a guide that explains compliance, safety, and accountability. Sign and return the driver's receipt acknowledging that you've received this guide. Alcohol and Drug Testing Handbook. This book provides the required training for alcohol and drug misuse. Read, sign, and return the driver receipt acknowledging that you've received and reviewed the contents of this guide. Hours of Service Rules for Commercial Motor Vehicle Drivers. This handbook provides the DOT regulations pertaining to hours of service. Sign and return the driver receipt acknowledging that you've received this guide. Receipt of items. The below items, safety vests, padlocks, gloves, fuel cards, have been included in your packet. Please sign and return the receipt of these items.
Review of policies. The next 3 slides cover minimum driver qualification policies. It is very important to read and be familiar with all requirements under this policy. Let's review a few of the key requirements. Each driver must obtain and maintain postal clearance by meeting all requirements established by the United States Postal Service. No excessive speeding involving a single offense for any speed of 15 miles per hour or more above the speed limit within the past 3 years. No reckless driving as defined by state or local law or regulation, including but not limited to the offense of driving a motor vehicle in willful or wanton disregard for the safety of the persons or property within the past 3 years. No improper or erratic lane changes within the past 3 years. No following the vehicle ahead too closely within the past 3 years. No driving while intoxicated or under the influence of drugs during the past 5 years. No moving violations involving the use of a handheld mobile device during the past 3 years. Committing a hit and run, leaving the scene of an accident, or failure to report an accident during the past 5 years. No railroad crossing violations within the past 3 years. Have no more than 3 moving violations in the past 36 months, and no more than 1 moving violation in the previous 12 months. Have no preventable accidents involving a fatality, bodily injury treated away from the scene, or disabling damage to a motor vehicle within the past 3 years. Disabling damage means damage that precludes departure of any motor vehicle from the scene of an accident in its usual manner in daylight after simple repairs. This includes damaged vehicles that are drivable but would incur further damage if so driven. And no more than 2 preventable accidents in which the driver was convicted of a moving violation within the last 3 years. Have 18 months of verifiable tractor-trailer experience. Must be of federal age required to obtain a CDL for interstate driving. The company reserves the right to add or eliminate items from this list at any time without notifying its employees. Routine stops to be logged off-duty. This policy is important to allow you off-duty breaks. During the stop, you are relieved from all responsibility for the care and custody of the truck and its cargo. The vehicle should be parked in a reasonably secure place. Accident reporting policy. Drivers are to report all accidents and incidences immediately to operations 24 hours a day. Work-related injury reporting policy. Failure to report an injury prior to the end of your shift could affect the acceptance of the claim. Return to work policy. Although it is our intent to return all injured workers to their original job position following an accident, if this is not possible due to medically determined physical restrictions, we will make every effort to modify their regular job or, when available, provide alternate temporary work that meets the injured worker's physical capabilities. Safety policy. Everyone has a role. Employees are responsible for following all safe work practices. All employees must be especially aware that jumping from cabs, trailer bodies, or loading platforms is an unsafe and prohibited practice, and that the use of seatbelts is mandatory. Everyone is responsible. Your responsibility is to adhere to all safety rules. Immediately report all accidents and near misses to your supervisor. Report all work-related injuries prior to the end of your shift or prior to receiving medical treatment. Report to work when offer of modified duty is received. Attend all appointments with the physician and follow all treatment and therapy instructions made by them. Perform only those job functions that have been agreed to by your medical provider. If you have questions or concerns, communicate with your immediate supervisor or return to work coordinator. No passengers policy. Passengers are not allowed in any company vehicles at any time. Only authorized company employees in the course of their normal duties. Unauthorized passengers are against the U.S. Postal Service's policy. No pets policy. Animals are not allowed in company vehicles at any time. No exceptions. Animals create a severe safety hazard. They can damage equipment as well as create an unsafe work environment for other employees. Animals are strictly prohibited. Footwear policy. To ensure the safety of our drivers, all shoes worn in the course of work should be closed-toe with a heel, and we strongly encourage slip-resistant soles.
DOT regulations. It is the policy of Hoovestol Inc. that all employees must comply with all DOT regulations. In the following slides, we have included a few regulations that you should pay particular attention to. Cell phone use. Hoovestol prohibits the use of cell phones by drivers without a hands-free device while at the controls of a motor vehicle. Cell phone and texting ban. Part 392 of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation contains restrictions on texting and the use of handheld mobile phones while driving a commercial motor vehicle, including the following. Texting ban. You may not manually enter text into or read text from an electronic device while driving a CMV. This includes emailing, text messaging, using the internet, pressing more than one button to start or end a phone call, or any other form of text retrieval or entry for communication purposes. Handheld cell phone ban. You are prohibited from using a handheld cell phone while driving a CMV. This includes talking on the phone while holding it in your hand, including push to talk, pressing more than a single button to dial or answer a phone call, or leaving your normal seated position to reach for a cell phone. You may use a hands-free phone, a CB radio, a navigation system, a two-way radio, a music player, or a fleet management system in compliance with the above regulations. Emergency exception. Using a handheld cell phone is only permissible by drivers of a CMV when necessary to communicate with law enforcement officials or other emergency services. Penalties. CDL and non-CDL drivers can be disqualified for up to 60 or 120 days and or face fines up to $2,750 for each violation. Illegal drug and alcohol use. In compliance of the DOT regulations, the use of illegal drugs are prohibited for all drivers. This includes the use of medical marijuana. Drivers may not consume alcohol within 8 hours of reporting to work. Alcohol may not be consumed by drivers during the course of work. Illegal drugs and alcohol are not permitted in the workplace. This includes in company vehicles and on company property. Fire extinguishers for tractors. A fire extinguisher must be mounted securely in a location that is readily accessible in each tractor. You must know the exact location of the fire extinguisher and how to use it. Check the serviceability of the fire extinguisher in each truck and immediately report deficiencies to your route manager. Seatbelts. Seatbelt usage is a federal requirement for commercial drivers under FMCSR 392.16 and with many state and local requirements. We value our employees and are committed to their safety. Seatbelts are proven to greatly reduce the risk of being seriously or fatally injured in a motor vehicle crash. Because of our commitment to employee safety and compliance with the law, our company has adopted the following policy regarding employee seatbelt usage. All employees are required to use a seatbelt when traveling in any vehicle in the course of conducting company business. This policy applies to all employees. Hours of service regulations. As a professional driver, you should maintain compliance with all DOT hours of service regulations. Log all trips as they occur and run each trip in compliance with the applicable laws. Hours of service regulations. May drive 11 hours after 10 hours off duty. May not drive beyond the 14th hour after coming on duty following 10 hours off duty. May not drive after 70 hours on duty in 8 consecutive days. May restart a 70-hour, 8-day period after taking 34 or more consecutive hours off duty. May not drive beyond the 8th hour of coming on duty without a 30-minute break. See your handbook for other required break information. Electronic Logging Device, or ELD, compliance. Utilizing the PeopleNut ELD is mandatory for logging your hours of service. Please refer to the PeopleNut Quick Start Guide for information on the use of PeopleNut ELD. Drivers must ensure that they have on board an ELD information packet containing the following items. The first, PeopleNut Quick Start Guide. And the second, you are required by the FMCSA regulations to carry a paper logbook at all times. ELD malfunction procedures. 1. Call PeopleNut and get a case number. 2. Call your route manager or the Hours of Service department to inform them of ELD malfunction. 3. Only after completing 1 and 2, switch to paper logs. 4. Submit your paper log daily to your route manager or Hours of Service department. 5. Paper logs may be used for a period of no more than 8 days. 6. FMCSA regulations require you to carry a paper logbook at all times. Each driver while working must have in their possession a log for the previous 7 days. This can be a combination of electronic log, paper logs, or the 7-day prior form. All logs must be a true representation of what the driver has done each day. If you work under an 100 air mile radius, you may be exempt from this regulation. Please contact your route manager for more information. Hours of service regulations continue. Paperless logs. All entries and recaps are maintained by the onboard computer. Paper logs, if applicable. Maintain log recap to comply with the 70-hour, 8-day rule. Your daily log must be current and updated at each change of duty status. All log entries must be neat, accurate, and in the driver's handwriting. Entries must be logged to the nearest quarter hour of the change of duty status. All on-duty work such as pre-trips, post-trips, and refueling must be logged as on duty. Paper log may be only used when in rental trucks or when the electronic log is not working. They must be submitted to be entered into the system within 8 days of completion. Safe railroad crossings. A driver should never cross a railroad grade crossing when the gates are down or the lights are flashing, even if the driver doesn't see a train approaching. The driver's only options are turn around, if safe and possible to do so, and find an alternate route. Wait for a police officer or an authorized railroad representative who could help direct traffic around the malfunctioning railroad lights and gates. Or call your manager. Violating the railroad crossing is a violation of the federal DOT regulations. Convictions will lead to a mandatory suspension of your CDL. Roadside inspections. Each driver must report any violations received during a roadside inspection to the route manager immediately, including any moving violations. In addition, all roadside inspection reports must be submitted to your route manager in time for us to respond within the required 15 days. Driver Vehicle Inspections and Report, or DVIR. In accordance with the DOT Regulation 396.13, before driving a motor vehicle, the driver shall A. Be satisfied that the motor vehicle is in a safe operating condition. B. Review the last driver vehicle inspection report. And C. Sign the report if defects or deficiencies which affect the safe operation of the vehicle were noted by the driver who prepared the report, to acknowledge that the driver has reviewed it and that there is a certification that the required repairs have been performed. In addition, DOT Regulation 396.11, every driver shall prepare a report in writing at the completion of each day's work on each vehicle operated if defects that affect the safe operation of the vehicle are noted. Please list any defect or deficiency discovered by or reported to you which would affect the safe operation of the vehicle or result in a mechanical breakdown. The vehicle inspection books are kept in the door pouch of each truck. Federal, state, and local laws. Hoovestol requires compliance with all federal, state, and local laws and ordinances. Although compliance is not limited to the following, we have outlined some particular rules to which you must comply. Traffic violations. You must immediately report all traffic violations, including warnings received, in either a company or personal vehicle to your route manager. It is your responsibility to pay fines associated with all traffic violations. Speed limits. Hoovestol requires drivers to stay within posted speed limits at all times. Vehicle accident or incident review. The Hoovestol accident and incident policy is based on the principle that each accident and incident must be treated individually. Failure to immediately report all accidents and incidents, regardless of how minor, could result in immediate termination. Non-preventable accidents and incidents do not result in disciplinary actions. Only those accidents and incidents deemed to be preventable by the Accident Review Committee will result in performance tracking. Steps of performance tracking will be determined by Hoovestol. The following will be considered: severity of the accident or incident, the driver's past driving record, adherence to company policy, and the driver's past work record.
Driver's reference. The following slides will provide required expectations. Safety vest. In compliance with the Postal Service requirements and our company policy, a safety vest must be worn while at all postal facilities and on all customer properties. We recommend drivers use these vests to ensure their own safety. Safety vest may be worn during breakdowns, in company yards, while inspecting vehicles, or any other instance to ensure your safety. Padlocks. In order to comply with postal regulations and our customers' requirements, company policy requires drivers to use a company-issued padlock on all trailers loaded with U.S. mail and other products. Vehicle keys. Trucks' keys must be left at the designated key box location. Drivers should never take the keys home or hide the keys on site. If there is a specific problem or concern involving a truck or key problem, contact your route manager. The company is not responsible for the loss or theft of any personal property. Do not leave anything valuable in the truck at the end of your shift. Tips for working with 53-foot trailers. Most trailers are 13 feet 6 inches high, 102 inches wide, and 53 feet long. There are many restrictions on 53-foot trailers. Drivers must pay special attention when pulling them. The following information will ensure compliance when working with 53-foot trailers. Kingpin setting. Enclosed is a reference for proper kingpin settings. Chaining tires. Prior to chaining, be sure to park in a well-lit area and also pull over to the side of the road as far as possible and set your parking brakes to avoid any potential accidents. The following tips will help you ensure safety and proper chaining of tires.
Driver's Safety Guide. Safe following distance. Always maintain a safe distance between your vehicle and the vehicle ahead of you. The best method for determining a safe following distance is to follow the 6-second rule in normal highway driving conditions. This distance must be increased for adverse weather conditions, poor road conditions, or vehicle and cargo circumstances. When the vehicle ahead passes a fixed object, such as a tar strip, overpass, or mile marker, start counting 1-1001, 1-1002, 1-1003, 1-1004, 1-1005, 1-1006. If you cross the fixed object on the road before 1-1006, you are following too close. In rush hour traffic, it is recommended by professional drivers to drive 3 to 5 miles per hour slower than the flow of traffic. This practice allows other vehicles to pull away from you, increasing the following distance. It is impossible and certainly unsafe to keep other vehicles out of your lane. Driving a bit slower is the best technique to practice in your goal of protecting other motorists. Following other vehicles too close, or tailgating, endangers other motorists and is not acceptable. Accident prevention. Right turns. Right turns. Anticipate the turn. Get in the proper turning lane as quickly and safely as possible before your turn. Use your turn signal. Downshift and slow down before the turn. Keep the rear of the vehicle close enough to the right curb to keep other vehicles out. Constantly monitor your mirrors so you know what traffic is next to you and behind you. Make your turn slowly so you can stop if you have to. Keep checking your mirrors as you turn. Make your turn without crossing the center line of the street you are leaving and, if possible, not into the opposing lanes of the road you are entering. Accident prevention. Left turns. Left turns. Avoid them if at all possible. Left turns are risky. Avoiding them can also save time and fuel. If you need to turn left, leave at least a car length between you and the vehicle ahead of you. Scan your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Accident prevention. Lane changes. Lane changes. Don't change lanes unless you absolutely have to. Be aware of your blind spots. Lean forward and look before changing lanes. Always signal your intent well in advance. Check all your mirrors prior to attempting a lane change and during the lane change. 3-point contact. Always use 3 points of contact when entering and exiting the vehicle. 1 hand and 2 feet, or 1 foot and 2 hands in contact with the vehicle at all times. Always face the vehicle while getting in and out of the truck. Never enter or exit the vehicle with your hands full. Put your items in the seat and then climb in. And never jump from a vehicle. Seatbelt use. We value the lives and safety of our employees. Seatbelts are proven to greatly reduce the risk of dying or being seriously injured in a motor vehicle crash. You must use a lap and shoulder belt while operating a commercial motor vehicle. Do not place the shoulder belt behind you, as this is considered the same as using no restraints at all. Sleeper berth restraints. For sleeper berths, occupant restraint systems installed by the manufacturer must be used, whether the system is at the entry point of the berth or incorporated as a belt-type restraint within the berth itself. Trailer safety. Trailer safety is a driver's responsibility. Below you will find our expectations to which you must agree and adhere. 1. When hooking up to any trailer at a Hoovestol yard or at the post office, complete the trailer pre-trip. Make sure the fifth wheel is locked. Check the airlines, tires, lights, brakes, overall condition of the trailer. Check and double check the trailer number. Make sure that you are pulling the correct trailer, that you are pulling out of the right dock, and that you have the right paperwork. It is your responsibility to make sure the load is properly secured, the trailer door is closed and padlocked before pulling away from the dock. Every load must be secured with a minimum of 2 straps at the end. Make sure that there is no one in the back of the trailer and truck before pulling away from the dock. Walk back, remove the chalk from the trailer wheels, and visually check that the dock door is still closed and that the trailer restraint lock is completely released regardless of red light, green light signals. Positioning restraining straps and E-tracks. Each end of the restraining strap must be connected into the E-track at least 1 foot back of the edge of the container being restrained. Properly position 2 restraining straps approximately every 10 feet to prevent movement. Each load must have 2 restraints positioned on the end of each load. Securing the load. Drape the assembly across the face of the load. Hold the buckle at about the same level as the attached end fitting and pull slack webbing through buckle until the straps and buckle are snug against the load, as seen in Figure 1. Operate buckle handle back and forth to take up remaining slack and to set tension, as seen in Figure 2. Continue ratcheting until enough tension is applied to hold the load securely. Do not over-tighten the shoring strap assembly. Too much tension could cause injury or damage to the equipment. Securing the load. To release the buckle, depress the release bar with the thumb, as seen in Figure 3, and swing handle as far as it will go from the buckle body, as seen in Figure 4. With the handle in this position, the spool will turn freely and unwind the webbing. Never use tools to operate the buckle handle. Proper shoring techniques. 2 restraints approximately every 10 feet. For every 3 rows of 3 APCs or GMPCs, totaling 9 pieces of equipment, use 2 restraints, or for every 2 rows of OTRs, totaling 4 OTRs, use 2 restraints. Dock safety requirements at postal facilities. When backing into and just before you pull away from the dock bays, you must sound your vehicle's horn. Once the vehicle is backed up to the dock and the door is raised, the vehicle will be secured either automatically or manually by the truck restraint system. If you have mail that has been loaded or unloaded with motorized equipment and you are backed up to the bay door that does not utilize the truck restraint system, you must secure the wheels of your vehicle with a wheel chock. Truck drivers must turn off their engines in their vehicles while parked in the dock bay. Handbrakes must be engaged before you exit the cab of your vehicle. Once on the ground, you must secure the wheels with wheel chocks to prevent a rollaway. If no chocks are available, contact your route manager before proceeding.
The incident you're about to see is true. On an interstate highway exit ramp, a load of mail broke loose and spilled onto the highway.
David 109996, checking in CIC. 785, no resident CIC. 134, Roger, frequency 50, 101 to number 3.
Okay, guys, let's start here and check both sides of the road.
Dang, freezing out here.
Look at the ditch over there. Some of this mail might have blown over in that direction.
Hey, I found one over here. Phil, there might be some more in the weeds around here. Come on over and give me a hand. I hope that's the last of it. Okay, let me take a look at your driver's license. Why don't you tell me exactly what happened?
Our trucks are equipped to carry the mail safely and efficiently. The safety factor is strictly up to you and how you use the shoring equipment to secure mail containers inside the trailers. This video will show you how to do it right. 5-ton trucks and larger have a double row of E-tracks running along each side of the cargo area. They're designed to hold the ends of shoring bars and straps that we'll be using in just a minute. You should always check that these tracks are in good repair and that they're firmly secured to the trailer walls. Most facilities have both shoring bars and straps. The straps and bars are designed to hold mail containers in place inside the trailers. Because shoring straps are stronger, cheaper, and easier to store, they're gradually replacing the older shoring bars. But bars are still around, and as long as they are, we'll still use them. Bars and straps can be used to shore every type of mail container carried by trailers. OTRs, ERMCs and GPMCs, wiretainers, and hampers. To safely restrain this equipment, you need to use the shoring straps and bars correctly. All rolling stock must be shored. Check to be sure the containers are snug up against the nose of the trailer or against other containers. Shoring bars have telescoping ends so they can fit across any trailer width. Secure one end of the bar into the upper E-track. It's designed to automatically latch into place. On the opposite side, telescope the bar out and insert the end into the E-track. Pull on the bar to make sure it's securely fastened. If you're using double-stacked wiretainers, you'll need 2 bars to secure the load. Apply 1 bar across the lower set of E-tracks and 1 across the upper tracks. Secure the bar on one side. On the other side of the cargo area, telescope the end out and clip it into the track. Then make sure the load's going to stay put. More and more these days, you'll be using straps to restrain the containers. Straps are easy to handle and install, and, provided they're used correctly, hold the load tighter and more securely than shoring bars. Newer straps come in two pieces, held together by a buckle. With the container in place, separate the strap and hook one end into the E-track. With these hampers, you should use the lower E-track. This is extremely important. You must hook the strap 1 foot back from the front of the container. Otherwise, it won't properly restrain the load. Lay the buckle end of the strap on top of a container. Now, get the other part of the strap and hook it into the other E-track. Attach the strap 1 foot back from the front of the container. Now get the two ends of the strap and buckle them together. Take up the slack by hand, then ratchet the strap tight. Pull on the strap lightly to make sure it's tight and secure against the load. With large loads, or loads with different types of containers, you must use more than 2 straps. A good rule of thumb to remember is you should place a bar or strap every 10 feet, or every 3 container rows. Two straps are mandatory whenever you've got double-stacked wire tainers. Hang the strap ends on the wire tainers, then buckle them together, top and bottom. By hooking the straps into the tracks beforehand, you make it easier to connect them once the load is in place. Pull the slack, then ratchet the strap tight against the containers. Do the same with the other strap, and when you're through, pull on the straps to check that they're securely in place and tight against the load. To undo a strap, squeeze the ratchet handle. Pull the spring-loaded locking handle open to release the tension. Pull the assembly toward you to create more slack and separate the handle from the buckle. To remove the strap from the E-track, grasp the clip assembly, pull back the thumb pin, and lift up. Once you're finished with the equipment, remember to store it in a safe place for the next time it's needed. Proper shoring ensures that the mail is carried safely and efficiently. If it's your responsibility, do it right. It doesn't take any longer, but you'll end up protecting the mail, Postal Service property, and the lives of other drivers on the road.
Resources. Driver Portal. You will find information on how to access our driver portal in your new hire packet. The driver portal homepage will keep you up to date on all Hoovestol news and announcements. The training section of the portal allows you to view safety videos. Once a video is viewed, you can take a quiz and we will pay you for your time. The resources section has a variety of commonly requested documents for benefits, payroll, and safety. Value safety, deliver service, and have a safe trip.